So in the last week you have written some mains questions for those particular topics which are mentioned in your mains syllabus. So the dates are like 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. Those particular tests which you have written on these particular dates 21 to 26th, all these particular questions I will be discussing. If you are not aware with any topic, you can ask a doubt, or if you want to add up some point and you don't know that is it right to insert that particular point in it or not, you can also ask it. And if you face any difficulties in structuring that particular question, you can ask a question. Okay. So how many of you here have qualified for this year prelims? No one. Okay. But some or the other day you have to qualify it. You have to write and construct the answer. Done. And one more question is like, how many still not completed the entire reading of geography syllabus? Like they don't know what geography is. Matlab only limited knowledge they have. Hope everyone has greater knowledge on world geography, Indian geography, at least 50% knowledge, not 100, at least 50, so that the thing which I would be speaking वो आपको गलत लगना नहीं चाहिए, otherwise it appears like Adipurush movie, है ना. For example, if I ask you, what is the first thing which comes into your mind when this word comes? मतलब ये भी आप लिखे होंगे शायद. You might have written an answer for this question also. Seeing this word, what is the first thing coming into your mind? Earthquake. Very good, ma'am. Changes in climate. Displacement of soil. भाई ने earthquake बोला. हाँ? Yes, ma'am. अच्छा, recent incident which has happened. Yes, ma'am. वो उत्तराखंड का जो हुआ था. Sir. Mass destruction. Did anyone perception match? Most of the people like earthquake, movement of soil एक perception था, एक contemporary issue था, एक पुराना case study था, है ना? In this, is there anything wrong? Anything wrong? But जब भी मेरा दिमाग में landslide आता है, whenever landslide comes into my mind, मेरा mind में एक ही चीज आएगा, that is how to tackle it. Because we are learning landslide, so that when we become district collector, when we are posted in Himalayan like regions, there in those regions where we find most of the earthquakes, landslides and avalanches, we would be the disaster manager. To tackle them, we should have minimum knowledge on landslide. That's why we are reading it. Yes or no? Everyone is accepting with me. Everyone. So it is how we are seeing that particular question or how we are seeing that particular keyword is what makes the most important matter for writing the mains answer. Okay. So in general, many people might come up with new ideas of writing the answer, but the old traditional strategy works in geography. Introduction, body, conclusion. This is the old traditional best strategy which we are going to follow for our answer writing. Hope many who might have sat in my class during the geography lectures, there I have made you write what structure we have to write it in the intro, body, conclusion. People who did not attend that session, you can just copy the answer writing structure from them. You will get it from your friends. Okay. So for every question, we will make sure that we will construct the answer mostly in this regard: intro, body, conclusion. So initially this particular pattern might appear difficult for us because like अब तक ग्रेजुएशन में क्या लिखे वो हम जाने भगवान जाने, बिकॉज द एग्जामिनर डोंट नो व्हाट वी हैव रिटन. वो उसको कर रहे एक ही है, रेड पेन ले लो, टिक करो, सबमिट करो, आ जाओ. मतलब उससे ज़्यादा कुछ किए नहीं इंजीनियरिंग और अदर ग्रेजुएशंस में. बट देर आर सम systems which you have to work it out where effective product of answer comes out. See, for example, if you have established an industry, like let's say you are manufacturing tomato ketchup. For the tomatoes are required, processing machines are required, water is required, filtrations are required, packaging is required. Yes or no? These all are the basic necessities for establishment of tomato ketchup industry. So you have collected tomatoes, you have called the laborers, you have established a unit, you have processed all the material. Finally, tomato ketchup is what you are going to send it to the market. And once that particular tomato ketchup enters into the market, let's say I have consumed it. I will give some comment on it. It is good, qualitative, quantitative, it is effective product, buying it is worth enough. Either I will give a positive comment or a negative comment. ये अच्छा नहीं है, इसको दूसरा बार खरीदना ही नहीं है, डीमार्ट में 1+1 ऑफर लगाए तो भी खरीदना नहीं है ना. We will give comment either on negative side or positive side, right? Here in your UPSC outcome, the final product is your answer. What you have done in the class, what Vijay sir has said, what Obrey sir has said, how many newspapers you have read, what is the amount of hours you worked in a day, 26 hours in a day. Yes or no? Some idiots say, all who cracked the exam, they generally tend to proclaim this, I have worked 26 hours a day, I did not see even the sun. मतलब बिना sun देखे करना क्या चाहता दुनिया में आके. Clear? See, final outcome is what is your answer. What is your answer? You might have read only 4 hours in a day, but you have constructed some 100, 150, 200 word of answer. That is what is required for the examiner. Then you will crack it. आप बहुत अच्छे हैं. You will wake up at 5 in the morning. You will do yoga, meditation, temple जाएंगे, बाबा मंदिर जाएंगे, प्रसाद लेके सबको बांटेंगे, and you will feed to the animals, you will come to the class, say good morning to the faculty, good morning to your friends, well wishers, you are very decent, innocent, sensitive. Does these things matter? What is the final outcome which is matter is 100, 150, 200, 250 word. This is what the matter is. So what is the highest reach? 250. It means in UPSC, for every topic of syllabus which they have given, if you have 250 words for every content, every topic, then can't you construct an answer? Not the best answer, but at least minimum average answer. For example, in geography, let's see. See, this is what our final target in mains answer writing, right? इससे आगे तो जाएंगे नहीं. जाने के लिए कोशिश करेंगे भी तो पेपर नहीं देंगे ना. They don't give additional sheets. Question come answer booklet. If you are willing to write also, they are not allowing you to write. So our final task is fixing the answer. Mostly these are the two things, 250 or 150. 10 mark दिए 150, 15 marks दिए 250. These are the only two subjects which you are finding in the present context. हो सकता है आगे जाके that might even change, that we don't know. But as of now 150 and 250 words, this is what the pattern which is running, trending. Are you getting this? Shall we see the questions? Here every time your mind has to stick to the conceptual clarity and how to tackle this concept or answer. What is the structure of answer? how much amount of content we have to expel out. If you are good with these three, no one can stop you. Have checked many toppers answer copies. They are not extraordinary brilliant answers which they have written. They have written some reasonable answers. Reasonable answers. Uma Harati, All India rank 3 last time. 2019 mein, she was my student. Initially her answers were very worst, but slowly in process of time she picked up, and even in the last attempt also she did not write any brilliant answer there. I have corrected approximately some 20-30 copies of her. What she has did it, she has kept a target of writing all the questions. Point number 1, 20 क्वेश्चन आए तो 20 लिखना ही है. Not an extraordinary answer, but at least a reasonable fair answer. If you go and check toppers copies sitting here, once you listen to the speech of toppers, मतलब ऑल इंडिया रैंक 1, रैंक 2, रैंक 3, जब बात करेंगे आपसे तो ऐसा लगेगा कि लाइक दे हैव कम फ्रॉम सम एलियन प्लैनेट. लाइक इतना सारे कैसे लिख लिए, मतलब हाउ दे केम फ्रॉम मार्स टू राइट दिस आंसर. मतलब ऑब्वियसली सेलेक्टेड पीपल वुड से सम फूलिश स्टफ. ऑब्वियसली जो भी सेलेक्ट हुए, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई हैव सेलेक्टेड नाउ, तो मैं भी वही बोलूंगा लाइक आई हैव वर्कड 26 आवर्स इन अ डे, इवन ऑन लूनर एक्लिप्स डे ऑल्सो आई हैव वर्कड इट. तो आप मानेंगे ही 100%. you will write even in the book, I have to work 26 hours a day. You will even write in the book because the topper has did the same, and the topper जो भी बोल रहा है, she is saying perfectly and correct. But if you actually go and check their answers, you will find in the internet many answer copies. They are not extraordinary answers. They are answers which they have tackled the concept perfectly. Point number 1. They have maintained structure of answer. Structure of answer दिखने में, writing में, presentation में, and they have calculated every topic into these regards. That's it. What they have did is this. Now you should also follow the same path. Are you getting this, everyone? Shall we move? Date number 21. 21st date. Question number 1. What is continental drift? You have question papers with you, right? You have it? No? Acha, theek. What is continental drift theory? Give evidences in its support. What is continental drift theory? Give evidences in its support. Who have given this continental drift theory? Alfred Wegener. ठीक है, तो उसके ऊपर ज़्यादा लिखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Just you have to take his name. That's it. Whenever you write these kind of questions, this question hails from geomorphology, and within geomorphology, as you know, we have 3 important theories: continental drift theory, seafloor spreading, and plate tectonics theory. Most probably UPSC have this habit of asking question on and off and on these 3 particular cycles, but unless and until इस साल तक सी फ्लोर स्प्रेडिंग के ऊपर क्वेश्चन नहीं आया. दे डिड नॉट आस्क ए क्वेश्चन ऑन सी फ्लोर स्प्रेडिंग. दिस ईयर देयर इज अ चांस. ये जो 2023 में मेंस होने वाले हैं सितंबर में, सो वी हैव अ ग्रेटर चांस ऑफ गेटिंग ए क्वेश्चन ऑन सी फ्लोर स्प्रेडिंग. दे may directly ask the question on sea floor spreading or indirectly ask a question on it. But here, seeing to this particular theoretical concepts, इधर आपको करना कुछ नहीं है. दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस में जो आपने सीखा है अल्फ्रेड वेगनर से, वो आपको वहां पे लिखना है. वॉट एवर यू हैव लर्न फ्रॉम द टीचर हु हैज सेड अबाउट कॉन्टिनेंटल ड्रिफ्ट थ्योरी, रिमेंबर इट, रिवाइज इट एंड राइट इट. डोंट यूज एनी नॉलेज हियर. यहाँ पे कुछ नॉलेज यूज करने की जरूरत नहीं है. यू हैव हर्ड अबाउट दिस थ्योरी, राइट? So these kind of theoretical questions are those, simply they are nothing like eat excess food and vomit it in the exam. These are direct questions, and here chances would be there that you can score extremely good. Extremely good का मतलब out of 10 mark को अगर question आया तो उसमें 5-6 marks आप आराम से ले सकते हैं. Why? Because examiner doesn't find anything to remove a mark unless and until you write something else apart from the main content, or else you don't know the content. In otherwise examiner doesn't have any authority. See, जो Alfred Wegener ने बोला you have written the same, then why examiner will remove entire mark? So somewhere around 5 to 6 mark आप आराम से ला सकते हैं इसमें. So but what you have to do is they have asked the question for 150 word, है ना. Actually जो task आता है, I have seen many aspirants who failed this exam. Approximately 20 to 30% of the aspirants who write mains, they fail the exam just because they won't be in a position to fit the answer in the given space. They go beyond the space. So what they would be doing is, for example, in this particular answer we have two structures, two parts of the question. So we have to focus on both the parts of the question. But what aspirants do is, let's say they have this space to write this answer. 150 word का मतलब दो साइड का जगह मिल जाएगा आपको, है ना. They start writing. Alfred Wegener was a German meteorologist. He used to wake up early in the morning 5 a.m. Pineapple खाता था. Then he used to go for a walk, come back and black coffee पीता था white cup में. Then he used to fresh up and go. And as he was a meteorologist, he used to go to meteorological department. मतलब ये सारे कहानी जितने वो लोग को पता है, यहाँ तक पूरा कॉन्टिनेंटल ड्रिफ्ट थ्योरी खत्म करेंगे. पैंजिया, पैंथालसा, ग्रेविटेशनल पुल ऑफ सन एंड मून, टाइडल फोर्स, buoyancy फोर्स, सीएल फ्लोटिंग ऑन सीमा. तो सेकेंड पोर्शन ऑफ द क्वेश्चन को बचेगा इतना स्पेस. व्हाट दे टेंड टू डू इज they start writing answer, the second part of the answer within the left out space. मतलब ये आपको फाइनली ऐसा लगेगा कि लाइक हेंस प्रूव्ड. मैथ्स में हम क्या करते थे, मैथमेटिक्स में 9th 8th स्टैंडर्ड में उतना ज़्यादा मैथ्स नहीं आता था. फंक्शंस, एफ ऑफ एक्स इज इक्वल्स टू अलजेब्रा 2x प्लस 3x, कुछ भी आता था ऐसे. मतलब कुछ भी कर रहे हैं फाइनली प्रूव कर रहे हैं ना, हेंस प्रूव्ड. So these kind of hence proved statements will give irritation to the examiner. This you should not do. First think in your mind, दो part of question है, दो paper हैं, equal importance. हाँ हो सकता है when you start writing about continental drift theory यहाँ तक आ सकता है. You can take some portion of the paper but not the entire paper. Okay. So that's why first you have to plan how to write an answer. You have seen the question, what is continental drift theory? Give evidences in its support, two parts of the question. Then for 10 to 20 seconds, think about what you have read about continental drift theory. Some key points will come into your mind. What would be the key points which come into your mind regarding continental drift theory? Alfred Wegener was a German meteorologist. He said about continental drift theory, okay, and he has said that there was single continental landmass called as Pangaea surrounded by Panthalassa, and certain forces acted on it which divided the continents into different groups, है ना. Where TSPSC was formed, further the forces acted, the continents drifted. And either you can show it, there are two ways to construct this answer. Either directly write the quotation which have been given in this particular model answer, है ना. ये model answer में जो भी दिया ऐसा construct कर सकते हैं आप. इसमें दिया है Alfred Wegener, German meteorologist, put forwarded continental drift theory. According to him, all continents form a single continental mass called as Pangaea, surrounded by the Panthalassa. And Pangaea broke into Laurasia and Gondwana land, resulting into TSPSC. Subsequently, they have continued to break into the continents which are existing in the present context. This you can write. Otherwise, you can cut short the content and you can draw the diagrammatical representation. Pangaea surrounded by Panthalassa, isko forwarded by Laurasia and Gondwana land. This you can represent according to the Alfred Wegener. Okay, two ways of writing this. That is of your choice, what you are going to pick it out. Anything you can write. It's not like, just I was saying, nothing is right, nothing is wrong. Only thing is how we perceive the things. But the best thing which you can do is diagrammatical representation in geography like answers. Wherever geography comes into picture, in geography what will happen is, examiner expects you to draw or represent. So that's why what you can do is, you can write according to the Alfred Wegener, there existed single continental landmass called as Pangaea and Panthalassa, represent it. They have broke because of certain forces acting on it. Clear? So during the Cretaceous period they have broke, and during mid-Mesozoic period they have moved. Example we have seen in the present context, the Indian landmass which is there, that particular Indian landmass is still moving northward. Half of the portion इसमें आ जाएंगे, है ना? One page खत्म. Now, give evidences in its support. Generally, whenever we used to read continental drift theory, पहले background समझते थे, why Alfred Wegener did so. Then what Alfred Wegener has given the theory उसको समझते थे. Then evidences what Alfred Wegener given and forces what Alfred Wegener has given. So इस question में forces पूछे. Did they ask any question? Did they ask that explain the forces responsible for continental drift? No. तो आप आपका दिमाग होशियार लगाइए. Clear? What generally people tend to do is, rather than writing what is necessary for the question, they start writing what they know also. This is the worst habit of an aspirant. Worst habit of an aspirant. This is also the path where aspirant fails. For example, if they have asked a question on discuss why Akbar is called as great and throw a light on Akbar's administration. मतलब ऐसा हिस्ट्री में क्वेश्चन पूछा है. What you have to write? You have to write regarding Akbar, वो जो दिने इलाही और इबादत खाना, how secular Akbar was, and second battle of Panipat he has fought. मतलब ये सारे चीज़ आपको लिखना है वहाँ पे. अकबर के एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, सेक्युलरिज्म, सेक्युलर पॉलिसीज. But what people tend to do is, as they have history as optional, they start writing from Indus Valley civilization happened in 2500 BC. Clear, it existed up to 1500 BC. Then Iron Age has come, Bronze Age खत्म हुआ, फिर वो यूज़ किए, ये यूज़ किए, बुद्धिज़्म हुआ, जैनिज़्म, महाजनपद, वो बिम्बिसार आया. मतलब ये सारे मौर्यास, गुप्तास, शातवाहनास, शुंगास, मतलब कुछ भी. Then comes Ghazni, then comes Alauddin Khilji, कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक, रज़िया सुल्ताना, इब्राहिम लोदी, ये सारे लिखने के बाद then comes Babur. Babur fought in first battle of Panipat 1526. He has killed Ibrahim Lodi at 10:26 AM. है ना. उसके बाद हुमायूं, शेरशाह सूरी. Then comes Akbar. Hence Akbar is great. मतलब I have seen this. Vertically I have seen this. I have seen this particular thing in three kind of aspirants. Aspirant number one, who have qualified prelims with luck. हो सकता है रिजर्वेशन हेल्प किया उसको. He might not have read that much. उस साल का कट ऑफ 65, 70, 75 तक आया हो. And by luck, by chance, slightly physically handicapped people also have some reservations. Clear? By luck in chance, if they clear, they did not read anything, because see, 200 में probability तो 66 is probability itself, है ना. 1/3 probability itself, minimum common sense. 50 तो नॉर्मल प्रोबेबिलिटी, ये नॉमिनल प्रोबेबिलिटी 1/3 है ना। तो कट ऑफ इससे कम हो तो ऑब्वियसली चांसेस वुड बी देयर दे विल क्वालिफाई, yes or no? So when they don't know anything, they start preferring writing this. These are the first kind of aspirants who have qualified with luck, not with hard work. Second, aspirants who have some, मतलब उसको क्या बोलेंगे, some negativity to that subject. मतलब मेरा भी ऐसा है, मेरे को साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी से बहुत नफरत है, पता नहीं क्यों. Sometimes they say PSLV, sometimes they say GSLV. एंड सुबह सुबह मैं न्यूज़पेपर में कुछ देख रहा था, इंडिया टुडे आई होप, स्मॉल सैटेलाइट व्हीकल कहते हैं SSV. अरे भाई PSLV क्या है, GSLV अभी SSV क्यों ला रहे? इफ आपको SSV से ही लेना था तो PSLV लगाए क्यों? मतलब इस सब्जेक्ट से मेरा नफरत है फ्रॉम फर्स्ट. सो व्हेन आई राइट सम साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी आंसर्स उतना लाइक एंथुसियाज्म से नहीं लिखूंगा. हाँ ये रॉकेट है, ऊपर गया, ये यूज किया, एडवांटेज खत्म. मतलब aspirants को एटलीस्ट दे हैव नफरत विद 1 or 2 सब्जेक्ट्स. दे टेंड टू राइट दिस काइंड ऑफ आंसर्स इफ दे आर नॉट हैविंग विलिंगनेस टुवर्ड्स दैट सब्जेक्ट. मतलब है ना, पढ़ लिए तो लिख लेंगे. थर्ड काइंड ऑफ एस्पिरेंट्स आर दोज who have over knowledge with respect to their optional. मेरा स्टूडेंट एक था who have cracked rank number 226 in 2021, कोविड का नेक्स्ट ईयर में. she cracked it. she had this history as optional. I have seen her writing GS answers in this way. हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल में हिस्ट्री पूछेंगे भाई, GS में सिर्फ हिस्ट्री नहीं पूछेंगे. why she has failed 4 times, I have observed it and I have commented every time to her. See बहन देख, तो अगर ऐसा लिखेगा तो तू घर चले जा पहले. You don't stay and never it is going to happen. मतलब बोलते हैं भैया ऐसा नहीं है वैसा नहीं, मतलब मेरा बात तो सुन लो पहले. I have given a question to her. Explain the salient features of Great Plains of India. Significance of Great Plains of India. She started writing historical perspective. Great Plains were known for Buddhism and Jainism. मतलब see how history came into GS also. I have asked her to write about some woman question. वो मैंने कुछ online से pick up कर लिया. वो question I have copied from online and I have given it to her. It was like some woman empowerment and women organizations के related. She started writing history of women societies. मैं बोला चलो भाई इसको ऐसा नहीं है. Now we will go and give some polity question. उसमें भी फिर it has been derived from Charter Act 1833. चलो भाई इसको ये नहीं है, अब प्लानिंग के ऊपर कुछ देंगे. प्लानिंग एंड नीति आयोग प्लानिंग कमीशन हैज बीन डिसॉल्व्ड एंड नीति आयोग केम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस. उसके ऊपर कुछ क्वेश्चन था, मैंने दिया. शी स्टार्टेड राइटिंग द हिस्ट्री ऑफ प्लानिंग. मतलब हर हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल वेयर शी हैज रेड इट वेरी परफेक्टली. शी स्कोर्ड 316 इन हिस्ट्री, 316. मतलब उतना हिस्ट्री पढ़ती थी वो. शी इज वेरी गुड एट हिस्ट्री, दैट आई नो. She even know what was pendulum, the गांधी का वॉच जो था उसका अंदर का पेंडुलम का भी पता है उसको. That much historical aspect she has read. 6 साल से सिर्फ हिस्ट्री डेली 4 घंटे पढ़ती थी ऑप्शन. But that should not come into your GS answers. सिंपल सा लॉजिक बताता हूं, GS versus optional. This is your GS answer. Maintain breadth, no need to go into depth. This is your optional answer. Maintain depth, stand at that line. Very simple logic. Agar if you are showing this difference to the examiner, 50% you have qualified for mains, you have qualified in mains. Show the variety. Your GS answers should be like a buffet. eating smaller quantities of food. अगर हम if we go to a marriage, what we do? तो पूरा 1-2 किलो चावल नहीं लेंगे ना प्लेट में. वी टेक वन स्वीट, कुछ हॉट के आइटम लेंगे, एक मंचूरिया लेंगे, एक रोटी लेंगे, पनीर की सब्जी, फिर अलग सब्जी, दाल, थोड़ा बिरयानी, थोड़ा राइस, थोड़ा कर्ड राइस, लास्ट में पान, ये सब खाएंगे. ऐसा नहीं कि पूरा प्लेट चावल भर लिए उसके ऊपर दाल डालिए. मतलब ये तो रेगुलरली घर में खाने की चीज है ना. सो व्हाई वी टेंड टू ऑप्ट इट? शो द एग्जामिनर द वैरायटी ऑफ डिशेस यू हैव व्हाइल यू राइट, एंड डोंट पोक अननेसेसरी डिश इनटू इट. मतलब कॉन्टिनेंटल ड्रिफ्ट थ्योरी के बारे में लिखने के लिए बोले एंड यू हैव टुक Zanzibar island into picture. That should never happen. But stick to the question, show the variety. If you understand this particular thing, if the same question comes in optional geography paper, जो लिखना है मन मर्जी लिखो. कॉन्टिनेंटल ड्रिफ्ट थ्योरी, अल्फ्रेड वेगनर का वाइफ का ब्रदर का नाम भी लिख लो इसमें. उसका नाम क्या चिंटू पिंटू होगा वो भी लिख लो. मतलब you should not give much depth over here. Okay, so second part of the question also to be concentrated. I have gone through some papers where what students have committed this mistake. मतलब जो जरूरी नहीं था, whatever was not necessary, still they have written it. You don't do that mistake. Okay, are you getting this? What are the evidences which we can take in the support of this continental drift theory? Fossil evidences, Glossopteris, polar wandering you can take, yes. Tillite deposits, very good. Yes, very good, absolutely. Jigs of it, exactly. What else? So here placer deposits, distribution of fossils, you might have read this, right? Evidences, my first evidence आएगा jigs of it. When you make the continents to move closer, South America fits into Africa, North America fits into Africa. Rock evidences, the rocks of Brazilian highlands are matching with that of the West Africa. Yes or no? So rocks of Appalachian mountains are having connection with Scandinavian mountains. You know about the fossils like Glossopteris, Mesosaurus, Lysostratus. These fossil evidences, you know. If you know the name, you write it. Otherwise, don't commit spelling mistakes. Is also one key aspect which you should note out to it. अगर आपको वो याद है, then you write it. If you don't know, don't touch it. Are you getting this? So in this way, construction of this answer has to be done. So in this we can add one more pinch. Here there is no compulsion that you have to mention about the forces. But if you are feeling answer उतना खास नहीं जा रहा है, मतलब you are unable to recollect the stuff, आपको forces याद है, तो in nothing but butter taste है ना. So बटर नहीं मिले तो जो बटर जैसा दिखे वो खाना पड़ेगा. Finally that is what we do. So in that regard what we can do is you can insert that so to have a patchwork. से कार को एक स्क्रैच गिरे, पूरा डोर तो तोड़ेंगे नहीं. So we do some patchwork over there. That patchwork you should only do when you are unable to write or structure or complete the answer. Otherwise initially patchworks are not necessary. First आपका दिमाग में तो आएगा ना, like this is the content which I have in my mind. अगर content fulfill नहीं हो रहा है, if the content is not being fulfilled, then what you can do is you can do that patchwork. Okay, the forces given by Alfred Wegener, they were also criticized. But finally, what you will write in the conclusion, introduction तो continental drift theory के बारे में लिख लिए. Body you will construct it in the evidences. Conclusion में क्या लिखेंगे? ये जो अल्फ्रेड वेगनर था फालतू का टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा था हमारा, है ना. because finally we come to know that the forces which were said by Alfred Wegener, they were not true. Yes or no? This is what the conclusion we will come across with. So what Alfred Wegener was saying is that almost he was fooling us. उसको कुछ करना नहीं था इससे. So वो वही लिखेंगे आप conclusion. Alfred Wegener was wasting our time. ये अंकल हमारा टाइम वेस्ट कर लिया था, है ना, ये नहीं लिखेंगे ना. You will write some optimistic conclusion. In UPSC, optimism is one character which you should have. If someone scolds you, for example, अगर मैंने कुछ assignment दिया, you did not wrote that assignment, finished that, and you have came next day to the class. तो गुस्से में मैं I have scolded you that you are fit for nothing, you jump from top floor up. तुरंत अब when I say jump from top floor, you will not go and jump from the top floor, right? है ना? तो आप suicide तो नहीं करेंगे when I scold you. What you can do is, सर ने मुझे गाली क्यों दिया? क्योंकि मैंने वर्क फिनिश नहीं किया. तो ये गलती सर का है या मेरा? अगर मैं कर लिया होता, so sir might not have scolded me. So why I did not do it? Is any work more important than this? क्या मेरा शादी था कि मैंने आंसर नहीं लिखा, कि मेरा बहन का शादी था? नहीं, मूवी देख रहा था सिर्फ अमेज़ॉन प्राइम में, 999 भर दिए तो मूवी देख रहा था. So obviously I am eligible for scoldings to be heard from faculty. When you take and consider this, this is optimism path. When you analyze the stuff, for example, you have did some mistake and you have took apology for yourself, and you took the apology because like the people who have faced the consequence, आपने वहाँ जाके उससे माफी मांग लिया. So this empathetical view will make your optimism to come into picture. For example, in this aspirant field of civil services, you have some enemies, you have some friends. अगर मान लेते कि enemy is traveling on a bike and वो गिर गया नीचे, है ना, तो आपको अंदर तो खुश हो गई, साला गिर गया तो मजा आया, मतलब अंदर inside your heart you will feel happy for sure, but at least outer face में आपको empathy दिखाना पड़ेगा. जाके go slowly while you are going fast, मतलब at least act. वो act of empathy से your optimism comes into picture. Then what, when you go and make your enemy to stand and give some water, what your enemy thinks is, अरे इसको मैं enemy मान रहा था इतने दिन, but he came for helping me. तो उस साइड से positivism connect आएगा आपको, then आपसे भी positivism connect आएगा, and finally your thought process will change. So answer में आपको लिखना क्या है? You should not scold Alfred Wegener who have wasted our time. Rather you can say that though continental drift theory appears scientifically unsound or it appears unscientific in nature, but this theory has given a path of thinking about the development of landforms, which has given the further theories like seafloor spreading and plate tectonics theory. Are you getting this? This is optimism approach. And I have learnt this optimism in the year of 2014. After BJP has won the election, there were major changes in judiciary process. You know about NJAC, National Judicial Appointments Commission, which was nullified and declared unconstitutional, है ना, वो तो अभी नहीं है. Judicial review, judicial activism concepts came from 2014. मतलब वो active हुए थे, they were already there, but they became active from 2014. So I have written some answer regarding with the judicial activism. वो क्वेश्चन था, judicial review process and judicial activism are crossing the judiciary limits, it is like judicial overactivism. Do you accept this statement? मतलब ऐसा कुछ क्वेश्चन था, I don't exactly remember the question. तो उसमें कंक्लूजन में मैंने लिखा यस जुडिशरी ओवर एक्शन कर रहा है, मतलब ऐसा आंसर लिखा था मैंने. जुडिशरी आजकल बहुत नौटंकी कर रहा है, एवरी टाइम इट इज पोकिंग इनटू द लेजिस्लेचर प्रोसेस. द पर्सन हु हैव करेक्टेड माय पेपर, वो एक प्रोफेसर था इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी से, मतलब वो मॉक टेस्ट था एंड ही, वो जो मेरा टेस्ट सीरीज का बुकलेट होगा उसके ऊपर मेरा कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर रहेगा. सो दैट पर्टिकुलर कंसर्न पर्सन कॉल्ड मी. नहीं, आपको ऐसा लिखना नहीं है, यू हैव टू राइट इट इन ए फ्लरिश्ड मैनर, ऑप्टिमिस्टिक मैनर. तो ऑप्टिमिज्म सोचो, पॉजिटिव सोचो. व्हाई जुडिशरी इज डूइंग सो? मैंने बोला जुडिशरी इज डूइंग सो जस्ट बिकॉज टू हैव एन आई चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस एज इट इज कस्टोडियन ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. To have checks and balances on legislature and executive procedure, judiciary will do it. So obviously it is doing right. Why you are commenting it in a negative way? Rather you write this particular picture as, why every time we can think it as judicial activism, why can't we think it as amendment or evolutionary process of judiciary? Are you getting this point? So that kind of optimism, whenever it comes into your mind, you are already a half bureaucrat और 60-70% ब्यूरोक्रेट अब बन गए. जो आपका दिमाग का थिंकिंग प्रोसेस चेंज होगा, जो थिंकिंग प्रोसेस चेंज करेंगे, यू आर अ हाफ ब्यूरोक्रेट. ओके, सो आर यू गोइंग टू स्ट्रक्चर दिस इन दिस वे, द कॉन्टिनेंटल ड्रिफ्ट थियरी वाला. So it's not like the answer which here it has been given constructed by the content team, यही आंसर नहीं है. Better answer than this also can be written by you. This is a model which they have given. भाई ऐसा लिखो, आपको कुछ भी नहीं आया तो ये पढ़ के लिख लो. This is the model they have given. It doesn't mean that this is the supreme answer or supreme of all the UPSC papers. ऐसा नहीं है. They have just given the content in a structured way. You can modify this. You can write better answer than this also. Okay. Question number 2. What do you mean by metamorphism? Rock, you know, solidified mineral. They are formed of 3 categories: igneous wala, sedimentary, metamorphic. Igneous are formed because of solidification and cooling process of magma, that you know. Granite, basalt, periodite, these are the best examples. Sedimentary rocks are those which are formed from the sedimental lithification process. When different rocks erode and smaller sediments form, the smaller sediments, they stick together. When they are exposed to the climate, they would be forming sedimentary rocks. Okay. Third comes metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks are those which are modified rocks. These metamorphic rocks, generally already pre-existing igneous or sedimentary rocks, when they go deep into the interior of the earth, when we go into the interior, what will happen? There shall be increase in heat, there shall be increase in pressure. Due to increase in heat and pressure, the modification of this rock happen in their chemical and physical structure. Chemical texture, physical structure. That kind of process is called as metamorphism, and the rocks which are outcome of that are called as metamorphic rocks. Example, limestone would be there. When it goes into the interior of the earth under heat and pressure, what will happen? It changes into marble. Very good. Granite changes into gneiss. Sandstone changes into quartzite. In this way, we shall be having the metamorphized rocks as outcome. घर में जो किचन में हम मार्बल यूज करेंगे, वो ग्रेनाइट यूज करेंगे. पीपल थिंक इट एज ग्रेनाइट, बट ओरिजिनल ग्रेनाइट यू कांट यूज इट. वो इंटीरियर डिजाइन वाला बोलेगा ना, किचन में आपको ग्रेनाइट मिलेंगे. दैट इज नॉट ग्रेनाइट, दैट इज ग्नेस, द मोर शाइनिंग वाला. किचन में जनरली वी यूज, व्हेन वी कंस्ट्रक्ट अवर होम, किचन में ग्रेनाइट का यूज करेंगे इन जनरली, है ना. तो नॉर्मल वो ग्रेनाइट नहीं है, ग्निस, मॉडिफाइड फॉर्म ऑफ ग्रेनाइट. So in that he has asked a question like, what is metamorphism? Describe types of metamorphic rocks and how they are formed. Question number 2, what is metamorphism? Second part of the question is describe types of metamorphic rocks and how they are formed. So this is also a simple straightforward direct question. इसमें कुछ गलत नहीं है, सही नहीं है, जो आपको पता है you have to write. But how many words they have asked? 150 word पूछे थे, 10 मार्क का क्वेश्चन है, सेम 2 pages का कहानी, 2 पेज की कहानी. What is metamorphism? They have given a definition. So they have given a precise definition in this, you can read it out. Metamorphism is a process by which already consolidated rocks, they undergo recrystallization and reorganization. तो ये थोड़ा geographical term हो गया, recrystallization and reorganization. This kind of geographical answers will expect the examiner who corrects the paper, he will expect this kind of words. But it is not true that in every text which we write, we use some Oxford वाला English. मतलब एग्जामिनर को तो समझ में आना पड़ेगा ना. सम पीपल राइट वेरी अल्टीमेट इंग्लिश, मतलब वो खुद को समझ में नहीं आएगा दोबारा पढ़ेंगे तो. पीपल हु कम फ्रॉम दिस ICSC, ये बचपन से मम्मी को खाना भी इंग्लिश में पूछेंगे, मॉम आई विल हैव डिनर लंच, मतलब मातृभाषा कुछ भी नहीं है यहाँ पे. So those kind of people, what they do is they think that if they write more extraordinary English, they tend to get very good marks. No. Crisp, clear, normal, average भाषा जो सबको समझ में आता है, if you write that, examiner would be impressed. See, examiner who corrects your paper, उसको तो 50 साल होगा. Yes or no? He might have finished his degree in 1990. Yes or no? तो 1990 में इतना पॉश इंग्लिश कहाँ से आया भाई? तो he will only know a regular communication वाला इंग्लिश उसको समझ में आता है. But these kind of words like recrystallization and reorganization can be appreciated, because geography scientifically is a more science biased subject, rather they consider it under social sciences, but it is more science biased subject, so you can use these particular terms. And here they have asked like types of metamorphism. There are 2 types in general. One is dynamic metamorphism, thermal metamorphism. Thermal metamorphism का मतलब where temperature comes into picture, and in this thermal metamorphism they have given 2 types. ये और ज़्यादा डेप्थ हो गया है ना, ये लिखने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है आपको. Here rather than that you can also focus on rock cycle also. Rather than giving up, you can more give introduction regarding with. Here what they have did is metamorphism के ऊपर सिर्फ 2 लाइन दिए, and they have indulged depth into the metamorphism, but in actual में ये जरूरी नहीं है, मतलब ये ज़्यादा डेप्थ जा रहे ना, like ये ऑप्शनल वाली कहानी हो गया फिर से. So GS में what you can do is rock का definition से start कर लो. Rock is a solidified portion of a mineral, and we have 3 types of rocks including igneous, sedimentary. Rock cycle explain करो, metamorphism explain करो, उसके बाद में types of metamorphism है dynamic and thermal metamorphism. If you want, you can just quote like thermal metamorphism has contact metamorphism and regional metamorphism. Contact metamorphism, when any rock come in contact with the magma, clear, generally they metamorphize. And some rocks regarding with the regional temperatures or the regional temperatural aspects which are there, they convert there. एंड डायनेमिक मेटामॉर्फिज्म, डायनेमिक का मतलब जो टेम्परेचर से हिस्सा नहीं है, सब कुछ डायनेमिक है. मेनी एस्पिरेंट्स हु क्वालिफाइड द एग्जाम ऑल्सो, बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं जो ज्योग्राफी ऑप्शनल से क्वालिफाई हुए हैं, दे हैव क्रैक्ड सिविल सर्विसेज एंड एट द सेंट्रल सेक्रेटेरिएट सर्विसेज, दे स्टिल हैव दिस डाउट, सर ये डिफरेंस क्या है. आप बहुत बार बोले डायनामिक एंड टेम्परेचर फैक्टर, थर्मल फैक्टर. थर्मल तो हम समझ गए, लाइक टेम्परेचर जहां पे भी है वो थर्मल फैक्टर है. व्हाट इज डायनेमिक फैक्टर देन? इज डायनेमिक, इसका सवाल बताऊं. विच आर नॉट थर्मल दे आर डायनेमिक. ओके, विच आर नॉट थर्मल, सब कुछ डायनेमिक है. ये ज्योग्राफी में you have a chapter called as thermodynamics in 12th physics I hope, चैप्टर नंबर 5 या 6 में थर्मोडायनेमिक का चैप्टर है. थर्मोडायनेमिक का मतलब है टेम्परेचर ट्रांसफॉर्मली चेंजेस with various factors. It might be pressure as a factor, gas as a factor, volume as a factor, area as a factor. ये हम 12th में पढ़े, मैं तो भूल गया, but I know the chapter name. In the similar way, whenever in geography this thing comes, thermal and dynamic factor, thermal मतलब temperature का contact में, जो temperature का contact में नहीं है, that everything falls under dynamic factor. Okay, so this answer can be written in this, and you have given up with some examples here, right? So like the marble, quartzite or some examples. इसमें granite भी दिए, but granite is not a metamorphic rock. Granite is a igneous wala. Gneiss, G-N-E-I-S-S. Gneiss is the format of the granite which has been metamorphized. Okay, clear everyone? Now comes the actual geomorphology. दिमाग खराब वाला है ना. So philosophical based questions in geography are in such regard that वो क्वेश्चन समझने में हमको 5 मिनट लगेंगे. रिसेंटली TSPSC का ग्रुप 1 पेपर देख रहा था. हैव एनीवन रिटन दैट एग्जाम? ग्रुप 1 TSPSC का यू हैव रिटन. सो स्टूडेंट्स वेर आस्किंग अबाउट कि मतलब वो सारे मेरे क्लास जो मैंने पढ़ाया था, अगर वो इफ दे हैव परफेक्टली लिसन्ड इट, वो उसको पढ़ने की जरूरत भी नहीं था. बाकी क्वेश्चंस देख रहा था, हिस्ट्री से, साइंस से. दैट क्वेश्चन पेपर वाज टफर देन UPSC. मैंने ऐसा देखा उसको. ज्योग्राफी तो वैसे एवरी डे आई टीच, इट बिकम्स इजी फॉर मी. मतलब उसको इट इज लाइक कुकिंग राइस एवरी डे विद द सेम अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर जो हम घर में पकाते हैं. द सेम थिंग इज फॉर ज्योग्राफी. बट मैंने बाकी क्वेश्चंस देखा था, इकोनॉमी का, हिस्ट्री का, मतलब कहाँ से उठा के लाया. मतलब द पर्सन हु हैव गिवन द पेपर, इधर ही माइट बी ए लाइब्रेरियन, है ना, क्योंकि लाइब्रेरी से कहीं से किताब उठा लिया, उसका बीच में से क्वेश्चन उठा के डाला. हैव यू गॉन थ्रू दैट पेपर? वंस यू गो थ्रू इट, मैंने UPSC से भी, APPSC वाज गुड इन जनवरी व्हेन AP ग्रुप 1 हैड हैपेंड. मतलब हाँ, रीजनेबली ओके. मतलब आधा क्वेश्चन वी नो, आधा वी डोंट नो. बट यहाँ पे 80% वी डोंट नो, 20 वी नो. 80% या C लगाना है या D लगाना है, बस उतना ही. Many aspirants did the same. I think so. Cutoff would also be ranging very less. You have checked the key. What is your score? 82. So you are in, I hope. AP मतलब जनरल कैटेगरी में आएंगे ना. यू कम अंडर जनरल कैटेगरी. हाँ, देन ऑल्सो यू विल बी इन. यू आर गेटिंग, हाँ, यू आर वेरी गुड. ये कहाँ से कहानी है? अच्छा, मतलब OMR शीट में आपको यू शुड नॉट मार्क इट. अच्छा, कॉपी का इश्यू सर. वेयर वाज योर सेंटर? However, High Court has given again the direction. पता नहीं क्या होगा. Abbott's नाम पर had. नहीं, that question is reasonable. The reason behind it is Hyderabad being the capital, and that was from the historical perspective. They have asked the question, but उतना भी पूछना नहीं चाहिए कि कोटी में, अमीरपेट, अंबरपेट, मतलब नामपल्ली में है. That question should not be asked, but that question came from Telangana movement. When movement has happened, these were the areas which have been struggled a lot, right? So from that background they have asked. And one more thing is, in the paper Hinduism के बारे में पूछे, Islam के बारे में पूछे. If they don't ask anything again on the basis of the similar religion, again वो फिर से पंगा, मतलब we are appearing like minorities. ये सारे पंगे छोड़ने, because on Christianity they cannot ask any other question. Religion में घुस के क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ सकते. Same like Islam or the Hindu culture. What they can't ask question on Pope, है ना? They can't ask question on the Vatican City. So only question which they can ask is like the structure or architecture or the Portuguese wala, है ना, or Christian missionaries. Now question number 3. Our earth is a playfield for two opposing group of geomorphic process. Discuss. See, this question which is there, मतलब ये क्वेश्चन मैंने पहले कभी नहीं देखा. फर्स्ट टाइम आई हैव सीन दिस क्वेश्चन. वो भी सुबह देख रहा था. आई डिड नॉट सी दिस क्वेश्चन नेवर बिफोर, एंड आई डोंट थिंक आई विल सी इट इन द फ्यूचर ऑल्सो. बट UPSC really have a habit of asking this kind of philosophical based question. मतलब ये इसमें philosophy ही दिखता है आपको. This kind of questions. Once there was a question in geography optional when I was writing. Structure, topography and structure are the resultants of the dynamic factors. Examine the statement. Clear? So this kind of questions, there is no modulation. इसमें आपको कुछ सही नहीं है, गलत नहीं है. Only thing is how perfect you construct the answer and how perfect you deliver. And frankly speaking, 95% of chances are there UPSC won't ask this kind of questions in their mains examination, because इस question में बहुत सारे पंगे हैं. For example, let's say our earth is playfield for two opposing group of geomorphic process. Discuss. Generally, whenever we discuss geomorphic process, we discuss two geomorphic processes, endogenic and exogenic. What are endogenic? Endogenic forces का मतलब forces, this is earth surface where we are living. On the earth surface, the forces which are acting from interior of the earth, they are endogenic. Acting exterior from the earth, they are exogenic forces. Acting from interior of the earth, endogenic. Acting from exterior of the earth, exogenic force. But are these two forces opposing forces? Then what they have given? Our earth is playfield for two opposing group of geomorphic process. So here starts our confusion, है ना? So then we start thinking about the endogenic forces का जो अंदर की कहानी है. Endogenic forces में two types of forces रहेंगे, diastrophic and sudden. आपका उसका मॉडल आंसर जो दिए थे उसमें थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन दिया, बट एक्चुअली में एंडोजेनिक फोर्सेस आर ऑफ टू टाइप्स. वन इज डायस्ट्रोफिक, वन इज सडन. डायस्ट्रोफिक का मतलब स्लो ग्रेजुअल फोर्सेस, सडन मतलब very fast, which show their resultant very fast. मतलब diastrophic forces which occur on the earth surface, they are not visible with our naked eye, or the resultant whichever would happen because of that, that can't be seen by a human being sitting here. मैं आपको बोलूँगा लाइक अशोकनगर सिग्नल पे बैठ जाओ आप जाके, वहाँ पे एक माउंटेन बनेगा 100 मिलियन ईयर्स में, बैठेंगे आपका समाधि बनेगा वहाँ पे, है ना, टेम्पल बना देंगे, है ना. दैट इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन. And if I say you go to Himachal Pradesh, stay in Shimla, within 2 to 3 months you will experience one earthquake. This you will experience directly, you can see. मतलब इसमें दो हैं, diastrophic and sudden. Is he saying about these two? No. ये दोनों के बारे में नहीं बोल रहे हैं. Because these two forces opposing forces? Opposing forces? No. Okay, let's go more deeper. Sudden forces में volcanism and earthquake. Diastrophic forces में we have two types again, epirogenic and orogenic. Epirogenic and orogenic forces. What are epirogenic? See, on the earth's crust from the interior, if the forces are acting vertically, upward or downward, they are epirogenic. If they are acting horizontally, orogenic. Okay. So, epirogenic movements will help in upliftment of the crust, emergence of the coast, submergence of the coast. I have given the examples while I was discussing them. Orogenic forces are mountain building processes, where they build. In orogenic again we have two types. What are they? In orogenic we have tensional and compressional. So tensional forces are those forces which act away from each other, compressional forces towards each other. So because of tensional forces, block mountains, faults, rift valleys. Yes or no? Because of compressional forces, fold mountains or warping of the crust. So are they asking about these two only, tensional and compressional? No. So here what you can do is, you can draw the flow chart. You will find a flow chart if you see in the NCERT or any other book regarding with the geomorphic processes, endogenic and exogenic. In exogenic also we have different types. So what are they? Weathering, erosion and mass movements. Landslide is का example. Weathering, erosion and mass movements are the examples of this. Yes. But exogenic, every time it is not destructive. So you can't write that directly, but you can consider it and directly write endogenic and exogenic by taking the examples. But you can't quote that quotation, because see, wherever erosion, weathering and erosion will be taking place, some or the other where we are also having the deposition of the material. Like if the river is eroding a valley like structure or a canyon like structure, river is taking the sediments and river is moving further into the plains, depositing alluvial fans, cones, natural leaves, floodplains, deltas. So not every time they are destructive, but considerably endogenic forces are destructive. In endogenic also we have destructive. In endogenic, the vertical downward movement will submerge the crust. They are destructing it, right? So that's why you can think, and in that perspective you can construct the answer, but you can't code that in your answer writing. Okay. So weathering and erosion ke upar you know about the difference, right? What is the major difference between weathering and erosion? Okay. Only water? Only wind and water? They are exogenic agents, but what is the difference? If we are using these two terms, there should be some difference, right? What is the difference? See, yeah, this is clear, right? Tensional, compressional were clear, right? In exogenic process, weathering is nothing but disintegration or dissolution of rock. Weathering का मतलब breakdown, either by disintegration or dissolution. either मैं ये स्क्रीन को पत्थर से मारूं या एसिड से खराब करूं. If I hit this particular screen with a bowl of rock, it will break. Okay, disintegration. Or if I drop acid onto it, what will happen? This will dissolve, the screen board will dissolve. So either disintegration or dissolution is called as weathering. So why weathering will happen? Either because of physical factors, chemical factors or biological factors. Physical factors का मतलब है like if I expose something to the climate, some or the other change will come to that particular substance. Very simple, if I expose the same plant tree outside to the climate, there shall be some different modulations you can observe in the soil. In the similar way, whenever any rock like structure exposed to the climate, under temperature, under pressure, if they break down, physical weathering. If that rock like structure, because of some chemical action, if they are dissolving, that is chemical weathering. If a rock like structure is being broken because of some biotic activity, either trees deepening its root, humans doing the mining, if this is happening, then that falls under biological weathering. So if disintegration happens, if any reason, either physical factor, chemical factor or biotic factor, weathering, and that particular weathered material, let's say this is a rock, this has broke down into smaller fragments, disintegrated into smaller fragments. Now these smaller fragments, does they move on their own? Down the slope they might move under gravity, but once they enter the plane area, would they move on their own? Would they move on their own? Why? Newton's first law. Unless and until an external force is applied, the body would be in a constant position. Yes or no, everyone? Now, what is that external force? It might be a river. This river, now when it flows above it, it collects these sediments. This movement of weathered material is called as erosion. This I am saying because whenever you write an answer or a definition, you have to be very crystal clear with the concept. Weathering refers to disintegration or dissolution of a rock because of physical, chemical or biological factor. Erosion refers to movement of weathered material by some geomorphic agents. Are you getting this point, everyone? Clear with this, everyone? And mass movements are also some kind of erosional and weathering activities itself, like landslides, avalanches, which generally happen. They fall under the mass movements category. So all these are happening because of some external forces, that is exogenic forces. So this is on one hand. Due to endogenic and exogenic forces, the earth is modifying. So finally here what I can comment is, the question is not that greatly explained. So question में बहुत सारे difficulties हैं. That's why these kind of philosophical questions, whenever they come in exam, please make sure that you read it 2 to 3 times, so to have an output of understanding on what actually to write. So जिसके ऊपर आंसर लिखना है, you will understand it very effectively. Okay. So these are the 3 questions which you are going to write. What is? For this, you can write an introduction like regarding with endogenic and exogenic forces. Like the endogenic and exogenic forces have modified the Earth's surface, which are acting from interior of the Earth and exterior of the Earth. For that, you can derive some more introduction like the major forces responsible for endogenic forces. One is why endogenic forces originate? Because of the temperature gradient and pressure gradient, the density differences which are happening. You can write regarding with the origin and movement of endogenic, the force which this endogenic force is taking, the force which it is deriving from, that you can write for the introduction. In conclusion, here they have given endogenic forces continuously elevate or build parts of their surface, and hence exogenic try to even out the relief variations of their. This can be written in a more better way, like endogenic and exogenic forces together are making the even surfaces on the Earth's surface by building and maintaining the balance. Matlab, this is appearing more balanced view. Okay. So these were the 3 questions which you have written on 21st. Okay. Let's check out the questions which you have written on 22nd. Okay. And question number 1. You have written on 22nd date के ऊपर. Question number 1. What are rare earth elements? Are they really rare? What are the uses of? In this we have 3 portions of question, but to be very true with you, we have very limited knowledge regarding with rare earth elements. जो न्यूज़पेपर में आर्टिकल्स छपेंगे उसमें से पॉइंट निकाल के इसमें लिखना पड़ता है, क्योंकि नो NCERTs, नो माजिद हुसैन टेक्स्ट बुक, neither the Kuller. No book gives you a very good understanding of what rare earth elements are. See, but you can come to an outcome for this kind of questions when they appear in UPSC. You can't write extraordinary answer. ये तो मैं लिख के देता हूँ, क्योंकि नॉलेज लिमिटेड, कंटेंट लिमिटेड, एंड क्वेश्चन जो भी पूछा है उसके बारे में हमें कुछ पता ही नहीं है ना. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू आस्क मी व्हाट आर रेयर एर्थ एलिमेंट्स, मैं आंसर क्या दूंगा आपको? जो कम मिलेंगे, रेयर मिलेंगे अर्थ सरफेस के ऊपर, दे आर रेयर एर्थ एलिमेंट्स. उसका एग्जाम्पल्स देता हूं, 1 2 3 4 5 10 एग्जाम्पल देता हूं, बट व्हाट आर द यूजेस? तो इस क्वेश्चन के ऊपर, लाइक दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस will be quoted with some difficult marks. Whenever people tend to score some good marks in this kind of questions, their legibility and their more biased benefit of qualifying mains would be more. Why? What is the reason? I'll say. See, this question comparatively अब तक जो 3 क्वेश्चन देखे थे उससे भी थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है, because of limited knowledge which we have, but we can extract the answer from this particular aspect. For these kind of questions to be addressed, 100% newspaper, internet comes worthy into picture. Other than that, माजिद हुसैन, विजिद हुसैन में तो दिए नहीं, अब तक तो दिए नहीं, बाद में पता नहीं है. So you can, while you, however, whenever you write what's so called as, so whenever you are supposed to write mains, however, आप तो न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ेंगे, करंट अफेयर पढ़ेंगे. सो करंट अफेयर में कहीं ना कहीं ये रेयर अर्थ एलिमेंट तो आया ही होगा. सो उसका डेफिनेशन लिखेंगे आप पहले. On one note, this kind of question is difficult. On another note, which I am explaining, it is easy. How it is difficult, that already I have said. Knowledge limited, अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग लिमिटेड. वो कहाँ न्यूज़पेपर में आया, उस दिन हमारा घर को न्यूज़पेपर आया नहीं है ना. सो ऑन द डे व्हेन रेयर अर्थ एलिमेंट्स केम ऑन हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर, उस दिन अगर घर को पेपर नहीं आया तो हम क्या करें भाई, मर जाए. दिस इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन, राइट. So there are many probabilities that this question becomes very difficult, but also same probabilities that this question becomes easy. How? Very simple logic. Structure wise answer लिखना है. What are rare earth elements? उसका definition. सब लोग क्या लिखेंगे? Those which are found very rare on the earth surface. आपका मॉडल आंसर में ये दिया है. Rare earth elements are group of 17 chemical elements that occur together in the periodic table. So you might be remembering the periodic table, but मुझे तो याद नहीं है. Anyone remember it? You remember the periodic table completely? No. हाँ, those two categories, total 17 है combination. I think तो एरिट्रियम 39 पे आएगा, है ना. So the total, when you write this, rare earth elements are group of 17 chemical elements that occur together in periodic table. The group consists of erythrium and scandium and 15 lanthanide elements. ये एग्जामिनर को भी समझ में नहीं आएगा आप जो लिख रहे हैं, but he will have one blueprint. The person who corrects your paper, what would be UPSC जो examiner paper question paper prepare करेंगे, what they would be giving is they will be giving one blueprint, and that blueprint will have 15 key points. Okay, on that basis he will mark, are these points there in your answer justifiably or not. What do you think, like the geography questions from GS paper 1 would be corrected by geography professor? It would be corrected by a professor. He might be a geography professor or history professor or commerce professor. It's not compulsion that geography professor should only correct it. Are you getting my point? So when commerce professor is correcting, how he would be knowing the geography content? So absolutely it is the blueprint which they have. They will cross check. अच्छा. So for example in blueprint, if they have 17 elements, ये सब लिखा है, and आपका आंसर में लिखा है, they tend to match and they tend to give the marks to you. Are you getting this? So this introduction which has been given in your model answer, it is very good. So this is directly taken from some current affair article. I know it. ये copy paste है, पक्का 100% current affair article से copy कर लिए हिंदू या इंडियन एक्सप्रेस. So rare earth elements are not rare as their name implies. So second part of question, are they really rare? They are not rare. They are not available in our vicinity. Do you remember when I was explaining about mineral geography, economic geography, जो भी class में था, I was explaining about the raw material while I was discussing the industries. So raw materials में दो type of raw materials मिलेंगे. One is specific, मतलब ये इस जगह पे ही आयरन और मिलेगा, कोल मिलेगा. One is ubiquitous, which is found everywhere. Do you remember these two key terms? And while I was explaining that particular term, last में I think so May में खत्म हुआ था ना economic geography. I have finished it in the May margin. So many people were criticizing me. सर इकोनॉमिक ज्योग्राफी क्यों पढ़ा रहा है, मतलब यूपीएससी पेपर देख लो May 28 जाके इकोनॉमिक ज्योग्राफी के क्वेश्चन निकल गए हैं. इवन जनरली व्हाट इंस्टीट्यूट्स में फैकल्टी करते हैं, वर्ल्ड ज्योग्राफी, इंडियन ज्योग्राफी खत्म करके एग्रीकल्चर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन खत्म, हाँ चलो आप घर चले हो. मतलब ये मिनरल दे विल नॉट टीच एंड दे विल नॉट डिक्टेट, बट मैंने डिक्टेट किया था क्लास में. होप यू रिमेंबर इट और नॉट. आयरन ओर इज फाउंड हियर, coal is found here, everything wherever it is found मैंने dictate किया. I have dictated it so that you won't face difficulties. On May 28th, then people realized why I was teaching economic geography. People have said me to finish economic geography in 2 hours. 2 घंटे में खत्म कर, मैं उसमें क्या हैंड आउट दे देंगे. आयरन और कोल ही पढ़ना है ना, हैंड आउट दे देंगे, क्या फर्क पड़ता है. But on May 28th they have given me a call. सर वी वी आर सॉरी ऑन द डे, आप जितने बोल रहे थे इकोनॉमिक ज्योग्राफी के ऊपर, यूपीएससी हैज चेंज्ड इट, शिफ्टेड इट्स आर्म टू इकोनॉमिक ज्योग्राफी. मैंने बोला यूपीएससी शिफ्ट नहीं किया आर्म, वी शिफ्टेड अवर आर्म. व्हाई? बिकॉज यूपीएससी हैज मेंशन्ड इट इन द सिलेबस, राइट? It is their note, either they will ask it or not. So how you will decide that this question is not going to come? If they have given in the arc and arm, read it. They will give or they will not give, that is their choice. Are you getting this point? So rare earth elements के ऊपर यहाँ पे in the model answer they have given like, they are not rare as the name implies. Thulium and lithium, they are the two least abundant rare earth elements, but their crustal abundance is 200 times greater than the gold. However, these metals are very difficult to mine because it is unusual to find them in concentration high enough for economical extraction. The reason why they call it as rare is, generally these rare earth elements are found deeper in the oceans. So to mine in the deeper oceans, it is very difficult because of infrastructural bottlenecks, investment facilities. But recently, India have got a permission to utilize one such kind of rare earth element called as manganese nodule. Have you heard about this? Manganese nodule. You haven't heard about this? Polymetallic nodules, PMN. You haven't heard? That means you are not reading the newspaper. So once go and cross check it in the Hindu. India have got a permission, but India is still on hold. Still it did not start extracting it. Reason behind it is due to infrastructural bottlenecks and heavy investment. Private companies में tender winter डाल सकते हैं, but again criticism will come on the government. ये एक हिस्सा चलता जाएगा. But India have got a permission to extract polymetallic nodules from the Indian Ocean. So if India has got a permission to extract polymetallic nodules, it means it has got a permission to extract rare earth element. So उसका background में ऐसा question पूछ सकते. They are not rare, but they are not available within our vicinity. So bit more efforts are to be made to extract this kind of minerals. Are you getting this? What are the uses of rare earth elements? Can you say what are the uses? Prepare semiconductors, manganese nodule से. तो मैंगनीज से भी वही बनेंगे ना. फर्स्ट खुद डायरेक्टली लेंगे सेमीकंडक्टर. यू शुड नॉट राइट इन दैट वे. रादर दे विल एक्ट एज अ कॉम्पनसेटरी मिनरल्स व्हेन द मिनरल crisis, when the like whenever there shall be some or the other time the minerals have to be exhausted from that particular mine, then these compensatory aspects can come into picture. Then start writing. You can replace manganese with manganese nodules. जो भी आपको examples पता है. Here they have given rare earth elements and alloys used in electronic devices such as cell phones, readers, computers and cameras. उसके बाद में आपको ये लिखना है. Rare earth elements act as a compensations for the minerals when they are exhausted, for the regular minerals when they are exhausted. Like these rare earth elements can be used in electrical appliances like cell phones or batteries, computers, cameras, and they are used as polishing agents, polishing compounds, and they are used for controlling air pollution. Clear? In defense sector, night vision goggles. You have seen the Uri movie, the Uri attack. So in that they will have some night when they tend to enter through the caves. Clear? They will have some night goggles which they generally tend to wear and move. Have you seen that movie, right? When they tend to attack from the caves, they tend to wear that particular goggles. In that these rare earth elements are used. So in this way, third structure of the answer can be written. So framing the structure for this is easy because he himself have given 3 parts of question. There is no necessity for us to derivate or disintegrate or dissolve the question. Straightforwardly directly write the answers. एंड अगर केमिकल कंपाउंड का नाम याद नहीं है, इफ यू डोंट रिमेंबर द केमिकल कंपाउंड नेम, देन प्लीज डोंट राइट इट. मतलब आप ऐसे लिख लिए कि लिथियम इज वन रेयर अर्थ एलिमेंट, मतलब गए काम से. बिकॉज दे विल हैव दैट पर्टिकुलर ब्लूप्रिंट. इन दैट ब्लूप्रिंट दे विल आल्सो हैव द लिस्ट ऑफ ऑल द रेयर अर्थ एलिमेंट्स. सो मैनिपुलेट करने की कोशिश मत करो आंसर में. डोंट मैनिपुलेट इट प्लीज, है ना. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 on 22nd. Write about the significance of what are marine resources. Significance बाद में लिखेंगे. First you have to know what are marine resources, right? Directly coral reefs are marine resources. Are there examples of marine resources? Only under the ocean, only sea, river. क्या लिखेंगे मेराइन रिसोर्सेस. मेराइन रिसोर्सेस आर दोज विच वी गेट फ्रॉम ओशनिक बॉडीज. ओशनिक बॉडीज इंक्लूड सी, गल्फ, वॉट एवर इट माइट बी. रिवराइन रिसोर्सेस आर डिफरेंट. मेनी पीपल मेराइन दिखते ही लिखेंगे कि लाइक इंडियन गंगा रिवर हैज ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ रिसोर्सेज. मतलब रिवर लिखना नहीं है, वाटर बॉडीज सब कुछ लिख लेंगे. Some people were writing about wetlands also. Marine resources में wetland, मतलब you should not write it. Marine resources are those which we get it from the oceanic bodies, and in this marine resources we will have physical resources, biological resources and energy resources. So इसमें जो model answer में दिए, they have given very good structure regarding with the physical resources. So in the physical resources what all we would be finding is, we shall be finding metallic resources and non-metallic resources. ये physical resources में physical resources which we have in this metallic and non-metallic. तो इसमें एग्जाम्पल्स दिए मेटालिक के बारे में. ओशंस हैव मैंगनीज नोड्यूल्स विच आई वाज सेइंग, पॉलीमेटालिक नोड्यूल्स के बारे में, विथ मेटल्स मैंगनीज, आयरन, निकल, कॉपर. These all are metallic minerals which we would be finding. In non-metallic you will be finding salt, sand. You can write the examples separately. In non-metallic, generally salts are derived from the oceans. In many movies we see people, the villains along the coastal regions, they tend to do the business with sand and they tend to mix drugs with sand and sell. वो कुछ सिंघम की मूवी में शायद, like the movie of Surya, the villain does the same. The salt, sand along the coastal regions, they tend to take the sand along the sand quarries. Clear. Oil and gas, which is one of the most important component which we will take. We will deep drill the ocean to take the crude oil extraction. Yes or no? Investment thoda high hai, but oil extraction happens mostly on the oceanic floors. And by desalinating this oceanic water, we can utilize the fresh water. The case study is with Israel. Israel doesn't even have one river also, but still they are having good amount of agricultural productivity. How? They take the saline water, they desalinate it, they make it fresh water and they tend to utilize those particular fresh water. Okay, these are physical resources. Energy resources, you know what are the energy resources which we would be getting? Crude oil already हमने physical में लगा दिए. Tidal energy, wave energy, aren't they the energy resources which we are going to get from the oceans? tidal energy, wave energy, yes or no? They are renewable sources of energies, right? Yes or no? And some biological resources, if you see, fishes and other source of food, many people who are living along the coastal regions, they generally tend to depend on consuming the food. Japan like islands, you can quote the example. Japan completely depends upon fish. अगर जापानीज को आप पूछे what you had in breakfast, तो बोलेंगे fish. Lunch में fish. Dinner में fish. Because like they don't have any soil because of the volcanic activity. So agricultural component is very less. So खाना तो कुछ पड़ेगा ना. They have to eat something. So Japan geographically also it is benefited. So when it is benefited geographically, so they have huge amount of fishing. Fishing in Japan is highly mechanized. If you want, like whenever you get time, YouTube में just डाल दो mechanized fishing in Japan. You will see huge ships going deep into the sea, catching fishes. इतना mechanized बन गया कि like they will cut the fish, process the fish, pack the fish and almost coastal region आते आते हमारे हाथ में पैकेट रहेगा fish का. Just we have to fry it in oil and we have to directly eat it. Most processed meat industry, fish meat industry is in Japan. You can see later on YouTube में just आप देख सकते जाके, है ना. इसका इंट्रोडक्शन तो मेराइन रिसोर्सेस का डेफिनेशन लिखे, कंटेंट तो इसका सिग्निफिकेंस, टाइप एंड सिग्निफिकेंस लिख लिए. कंक्लूजन क्या लिखेंगे? Yes, what you will write it in the conclusion. What you will write in the conclusion? You can write, you can relate, but not that extent which you are saying. तो आप फिश खा रहे हैं एंड बोल रहे कि लाइक ये खराब हो रहा है, ये करना नहीं चाहिए ना. You should not do that. आपका your thinking is good, but your application is not good because you are eating fish and saying that fish resources are getting depleted. हाँ, उसको हम क्या बोल सकते हैं? Utilize optimal utilization and sustainable utilization of marine resources. Clear? Without disturbing the marine units, like disturbance of coral reefs during the oil extraction. Coral reefs are getting disturbed during the oil spills. The coral reefs are getting disturbed. So without this, the sustainable utilization of marine resources, because marine sources, marine regions, they themselves contribute for the balancing of the environment. They are the largest ecosystems which we have. They protect the ecology. They have the most diversified population. So that's why protection of marine regions are very important. So while utilizing the marine resources, sustainable utilization of marine resources is the key point, which you have to write it. In sustainable development goals also, you have life underwater. That is one sustainable development goal. So all the features, all the resources, you can utilize it, but optimal utilization without disturbing the ecology of that particular marine ecosystem, because marine ecosystems are getting damaged. For example, plastic usage. Recently I have seen one video in the Facebook while I was just scrolling down. Some organization was collecting huge amount of plastic. दो ships थे, एक net था दो ships के बीच में. So ships were moving and these nets were completely collecting the plastic from the oceans. I don't know what organization it exactly was, but I was just going through. So plastic pollution, oil spills, deep drilling, clear, all these are those things which are disturbing the marine resources directly, marine regions directly. So that's why sustainable utilization of them or optimal utilization whenever there is necessity, that is the task which you have to follow. So you can write in this way. Okay, clear everyone? So for conclusion, every time whenever you write marine resources, introduction mein write about what are marine resources and how these marine resources will help us. Then you can write the types of marine resources and their significance in the main body. In conclusion, whenever you write, make sure that you write this marine resources and the marine ecosystems associated with environment related aspect itself. Whenever you write these kind of resources answer, make sure that you write either the crisis point of view or the ecosystem point of view or the environmental point of view or climate change point of view. Okay. So these kind of resources, when they are written, make sure climate or environment comes handy into picture. Okay, done. Clear with this, everyone? Now, question number 3. What are different types of minerals? Give an account on mineral belts in India. Okay, straightforward question, economic geography. And different types of minerals, what are they? Minerals can be divided as metallic minerals, non-metallic minerals. See, every time the boring answers when you write, examiner would be irritating, 100%. If I give you every day the same chapati with aloo ki sabji, would you eat it for a week? You will throw it on me. आप खा लो चपाती, मैं नहीं खा रहा हूँ आज, है ना? So in the similar way, when you give the examiner the same kind of routine structure, he won't be impressed much. By God's grace, I have met one personality in Banaras Hindu University. He was a person who will prepare the question paper for UPSC and who will also correct the papers of UPSC. That he did not say me. Indirectly I understood when I have asked some doubts when he started explaining. तो सर का जो बातें हैं उससे मैं समझ गया कि like he was doing so. But people whoever would be doing correction for UPSC or preparing the paper for UPSC, they will maintain the top secret. They will not even reveal it to their family members also. That much top secrecy they will maintain. So whenever I have asked that particular sir whom I have met, he was saying like, see, the person who will be correcting the paper, he is also a human being. He is not a person who came from alien planet, or he is not a robot. He will also have the same emotions what general human beings will be having. What he has said is, correction of the entire paper should be happening somewhere around in half an hour. Correcting 20 questions in half an hour, it means 1.5 minutes per question. Is it humanly possible? मैं नीचे देख रहा था क्वेश्चन को, आई वॉज सीइंग द वन ऑफ द आंसर शीट्स. एक आंसर चेक करने में मुझे 5 मिनट लगा, मिनिमम 5 मिनट्स इट वुड बी टेकिंग. तो 1.5 मिनट में इज इट ह्यूमनली पॉसिबल? नो. सो हाउ दिस एग्जामिनर वुड बी करेक्टिंग? दे विल चेक द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, they will get an impression on you, they'll check the second question, get an impression on you, then from third question they will scale up the marks and give you. If third question is appearing better than first one, let's say for the first one they have given 4 marks, for the second question they have given 5 marks, what is the average? 4.5. So what they would be doing is, they will keep the scale of 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. This is the scale which they would be keeping. If the answer is better than the first and second, you will get 5.5 for it. Less than it, 3.5. So entire story depends upon question number 1. And there is no choice for us that which question we will write on question number 1. ये तो स्कूल में लिखते थे, जो क्वेश्चन अच्छा आता था क्वेश्चन नंबर 7 डाल के we used to write that. बट यहाँ पे वो चॉइस नहीं है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 मोस्ट प्रोबेबली आर्ट एंड कल्चर, जीएस पेपर 1 में उस पे होगा। क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 पॉलिटी या कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इसके ऊपर होगा। क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 इकोनॉमी। मतलब ये मेरा गेस है, हो सकता है क्वेश्चन चेंज भी हो, बट इन नॉमिनल सिचुएशन दिस इज द पैटर्न वेयर द क्वेश्चंस आर कमिंग, यस और नो? सो हेंस इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वॉट एवर फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन कम्स, ये अपने किस्मत है। इफ यू नो दैट क्वेश्चन वेरी परफेक्टली। मेरा स्टूडेंट था बुद्धि अकिल, क्लियर, 2021 में उसका 566 रैंक था शायद। सो नाउ ही हैज पोस्टेड एज अ पुलिस ऑफिसर इन दिल्ली एंड अंडमान निकोबार सर्विसेज। तो ही वॉज ऑलमोस्ट ए किड, 21 ईयर्स का किड था, तो ऑलमोस्ट 10 ईयर गैप था और जनरेशन डिफरेंस। तो हिज थिंकिंग हैज सरप्राइज्ड मी मेनी टाइम्स। ही यूज्ड टू थिंक 10 years far better than me, वास्तव में, when he was 21 years. So whenever he used to do answer writing, what he used to do is, he used to frame this particular thing, and उसका किस्मत इतना अच्छा था, जो भी first question उसने लिखा, that was the best answer which he has written. In 2021 he has cracked exam. 2022 में मेंस जो हुआ, 2023 रिजल्ट आया था फाइनल, उसमें ही डिड नॉट क्वालिफाई, सम 970 मार्क्स आए थे उसको। सो इंटरव्यू में 156 मार्क्स आए थे। जीएस पेपर 2, जीएस पेपर 4 में उसका मार्क्स कम आए, जीएस पेपर 2 में 79, जीएस पेपर 4 में 82, आई होप लेस मार्क्स इन पेपर 2 एंड पेपर 4। रीजन बिहाइंड इट वाज फर्स्ट आंसर उसका सही नहीं था। सो इन फर्स्ट आंसर इटसेल्फ if he is getting 2, so obviously the best answer would be 3.5, worst answer would be 1.5. so the scale up 70-80 marks ही मिलेंगे। That's why whenever you structure or frame the answer, make sure that you are giving the best to the examiner. See, after first and second question, examiner is not going to check the entire answer of yours. He is going to check the overview, that's it, because 1.5 minute में उतना ही बनता है। तो overview when he is checking, give him delicious overview. For example, what was the last question? Marine resources का क्वेश्चन था। You have written marine resources so and so, उसका सब लिख लिए। अभी क्वेश्चन आया सेम, ऑलमोस्ट द सेम टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन, व्हाट आर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ मिनरल्स। इस क्वेश्चन को थोड़ा ट्विस्ट एंड पैरेलली ट्विस्ट करो, मतलब लिखो सेम कंटेंट। If you start writing minerals are the solidified portions, or minerals are those, and minerals are divided into non-metallic, metallic, ये लिखने से अच्छा you introduce a flow chart here. Minerals are of 2 types, metallic, non-metallic, metallic minerals, non-metallic minerals. You are writing the same content but representing in a diagrammatical way. So when examiner, let's say this is the 4th question which you are writing, when examiner tips for the 4th question, he will check the overview. However, हाँ minerals लिख लिए, crisis लिख लिए, types लिख लिए, region लिख लिए, but this is appearing like a delicious food item for him. For example, eating rice daily appears bored, but items made up of rice, Monday के दिन दाल चावल खा लिए, Tuesday जीरा राइस, वेडनेसडे फ्राइड राइस, थर्सडे बिरयानी खाएं, फ्राइडे कर्ड राइस खाएं, सैटरडे सांबर राइस खाएं, मतलब एलिमेंट ऑफ राइस इज सेम, बट व्हेन यू आर गिविंग इट इन डिफरेंट पैटर्न, that would appear very good. In the same way, when examiner tends to look at your overview answer, give him different structures. Give him different structures. Representation 100% would be mattering. Nothing you are going to do. You are having the same content in your mind, but you are changing the presentation, representation to gain some excess mark. तो उसको क्या लगेगा, इसमें कुछ अलग लिखा है उसने. Might not be 5.5, but at least he will give the same mark of 4. 40% मार्क भी आपको 100 मिलेंगे. When you score 40% marks for every question, टोटल आपका 100 प्लस होगा जीएस में. 100 प्लस इन जीएस इज वेरी गुड स्कोर. माई जनरल एजम्पशन इज ऑप्शनल में 300, जीएस में 420, एसए में 150. No one can stop you in entering into the service. ज्यादा फोकस किस पे करना है? 100 से 5 मार्क ज्यादा लाना है एक एक जीएस पेपर में. 105 into 4. Aren't you in a position to score 40% of marks for a question after reading this much of content? 100 in each paper में excess 5 मार्क पूछ रहा हूं आपसे. That excess of 5 marks come from this. A good introduction, good conclusion, flow charts, keywords, underlining, highlighting, good introduction, quotation, flow chart. उससे मिलेंगे extra 20. Optional if you read it perfectly, 250 to 260 तो आपको आना ही आना है. In optional, whatever optional you will read, but the excess 30-40 mark you will gain when you do it in this representation manner. Essay to 110-20 everyone will get it, but the presentation will give you 150. 420 plus 300 720, 720 plus 150. इंटरव्यू में 130 नहीं आएंगे, 90 तो खुद डाल देंगे. They will give you 90 if you just go sit and come out. Seriously, that is nominal score. Everyone should get 90. Everyone will be getting. अगर आप गए बैठ गए, सर थोड़ा एक दो चाय मंगाओ, पी के जाता हूँ मैं, तो चाय पी के आ गया ना वापस, you will get 90. Penalty that depends upon irritation. बोलने के बाद भी मेंस का आंसर राइटिंग है ओम साईराम लिख रहे हैं, है ना, मार्जिन के बाहर लिख रहे हैं, स्केच पेन यूज कर रहे हैं, ओवरराइडिंग द आंसर्स, स्ट्राइकिंग ऑफ पीटी वो लिखना, पेज टर्नओवर, दिस को पेनाल्टी मारेंगे. बट यूपीएससी बोर्ड विल हैव एन अथॉरिटी, ए स्पेशल अथॉरिटी विच इज नॉट मेंशन्ड, बट दे यूटिलाइज इट एज अ डी फैक्टो. If I score 1000 in mains itself, who is going to stop me? इंटरव्यू में 0 डाल दे भाई, इंटरव्यू में 0 डालो, who is going to stop me? But interview board has every right to reject you from the service. तो इसीलिए होशियारी नहीं करना है. You go sit, जो आंसर पता है बोलो, जो आंसर पता नहीं है, sorry sir, I am unable to recollect. I'm sorry, I can't explain it that greatly. बस ये बोल के भी आ गए ना बाहर, 90 तो मिलना ही मिलना है, 100%. पेनल्टी मार्क्स फॉर दोज हु रिपीटेडली डू द सेम मिस्टेक. मतलब बोलने के बाद भी फिर मार्जिन के ऊपर लास्ट में स्केच पेन ओम साईराम लिख लिए, बिकॉज दीज थिंग्स गिवन चॉइस फॉर malpractices. That's why they don't allow. Initially they used to give what they used to do is they used to give some set of guidelines. After giving the guidelines for n number of times, students, when they did not listen, they started rubbing this penalty on the student. So that doesn't matter, but board has every authority. आपको नहीं आता है वो ठीक है, बट वो हम यू हैव टू से इट इन ए हम्बल वे. वेयर इज रशिया? डोंट नो सर, मैंने तो कभी देखा नहीं, आई डोंट नो, आई एम अनेबल टू रिकलेक्ट. ये अच्छा है. वेयर इज रशिया मतलब मैं क्यों याद करूं, व्हाई आई हैव टू रिमेंबर, व्हाई आई हैव टू से यू, मतलब ये एरोगेंस को आपको लगेगा ही पेनल्टी. बी हम्बल, मेक श्योर दैट यू स्कोर दीज मार्क्स. ये तो ज्यादा नहीं बोला मैंने. Optional, you are deep hearted optional, you should get 300. Essay, when you get this score right, UPSC में top 50 में आने का chances ज़्यादा है. And more amount of marks in this 10-15 marks excess will push you into top 10. So in this your representation should change for every answer. If the same consequence of questions are coming, just mold your representation. Okay. So what are different types of minerals? You will write the flowchart, then give an account on mineral belts in India. So in India, while you have read about mineral belts, what are the mineral belts you have read about? You will never forget the Chota Nagpur plateau. You will never forget the Karnataka wala Dharwad region and northeastern region. इसमें model answer में तीन रीजन दिए. These three regions you can remember and write it if they are going to ask mineral belts. Last time I hope in the mains they have asked about Deccan Traps or Northeastern Plateau, कुछ क्वेश्चन ऐसे पूछे थे. So there are chances that they would be asking it. Northeastern Plateau region, उसमें छोटा नागपुर Plateau, mineral heartland of India, coal belt, Odisha, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, which have iron, coal, manganese, bauxite, mica. These are mostly found. Southwestern Plateau region, belts extend in Karnataka, Goa and Tamil Nadu. Karnataka region, do you remember? The Dharwad Plateau region, Kudremukh, Kemamgudi, Shimoga Hill, Baba Budan Hills in Shimoga district, which are famous for iron. The Tamil Nadu region, Coimbatore belt, Goa, Karnataka, Ratnagiri iron belt, and northwestern region, Aravalli belt, Gujarat. They have given this particular region. These are the most important three mineral belt regions which we have. Okay. But for this thing, generally, people, whoever would be writing answers, 15,000 people who would be selecting for mains, everyone will have at least minimum knowledge. It's not like they won't read anything and directly go sit in the mains examination. 15,000 people will be having minimum knowledge, 15,000 people. But in that 15,000, who will qualify into the 3,000? 5 things matter. Matter number 1, content. Not extraordinary content, above average or average content and above average content. Point number 2, people who think smartly and represent smartly. Smartly in the sense, just now I was saying about the representation of your answer, good introductions, good conclusions, flow charts, diagrammatical representations. Point number 3, those who generally have a habit of writing point-wise answers. Some answers you can write it in a point-wise manner. Point number 4, who impresses the examiner. And for this kind of answers, out of 15,000 people, 7,500 people or 8,000 people will be writing the same stuff which I have explained. And 2,000 to 3,000 people, however, will not attend the mains exam itself. 2,000 लोग मेंस अटेंड नहीं करेंगे, इधर मेंस अटेंड नहीं करेंगे, नहीं तो क्वालिफाइंग में ही घर चले जाएंगे. दे विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट हमारा क्वालिफाइंग खुद नहीं हो रहा, हम GS 1 2 3 4 लिख के फायदा नहीं है. पीपल हु गेट इनटू 3,000, हु आर दे? Who are the most brilliant one? They see this question in a different way. How? You have said northeastern region, southwestern region, northwestern region. Rather, what they tend to do is, after explanation, they tend to draw Indian map at one adjacent side they would be taking, and they tend to represent on the map exclusively in geography, history, international relations. You can use Indian map. Disaster management. These are the 4 subjects where you can use Indian map. So by representing it in the Indian map, they tend to grab the attention of the examiner. So somewhere around ये 3-4 हजार लोग ऐसे tactics follow हो जाएंगे. So by seeing this, what examiner will do is, they won't read your answer. They will see this, they will get an idea, and they will push by the mark. So that's why wherever Indian map diagrammatical representations are on a note along that particular location, make sure that you 100% draw those particular diagrammatical representations. Okay, got this point everyone? Clear? Done? Have you seen this? So this map you can find it in NCERTs. or just you can Google it and download the mineral distribution. Make sure that the most important mineral distributions, sometimes they might not ask the belt, they might ask you about the iron ore distribution, coal distribution. For that, approximate marking will fetch you some additional marks. Okay. So, this is test number 2. Coming to test number 3, which happened on 23rd. Question number 1, it is regarding with oil refineries and location. Okay. So, read the question very carefully. Oil refinery is one of the most important economic activity in India, because however, due to the population which we have, oil is required for sure, no doubt at all. Yes or no? And the oil which, crude oil which we take it from the Central Asia or from different countries, that shall be refined here, and that crude oil which would be extracted from the Indian margin, we refine it here. Yes or no? So, oil refinery is important economic activity, despite we have less in number, but still it is an important economic activity. This has been mentioned in the question itself. However, India does not have many refineries. In this backdrop, describe the factors that determine the location of oil refinery. Also, discuss why refineries are moving towards market centers. See, whenever you tend to read the industrial location and its distribution, like during the course of time, you read about iron and steel industry, locational factors and its distribution factors, cotton textile industries, its locational factors and distribution factors, jute textile industries, its locational factors and distribution factors. There shall be some common things: raw material, market, labor, capital, transportation, water availability. There are some general factors which influence in a general way, but for certain industries there shall be some factors which will determine that particular aspect very regularly. For example, cotton textile industry, it is more market oriented industry, not necessary to establish near to the raw material. Iron and steel industry, it is a raw material based industry. So, if you establish that near to the raw material, near to the market, so bulk amount of raw material has to be carried near to the market location. So, every industry will have certain factors which will determine it. Some factors might be common with other industries, but some factors would be specific to this particular industry itself. But when it comes in the course of UPSC, UPSC won't ask a direct question to you, like discuss the determining factors for location of oil refineries and why they are moving towards market center. This kind of same question appeared in UPSC 2021, I hope, 2021 mains. Question was like, iron and steel industry is now moving to the newer locations rather than its existing locations. Okay. And it is moving to the newer locations in that particular regard. Like, discuss what are the new locational factors necessary for the iron and steel industry. They are not going to ask you a question like discuss the factors responsible for location of iron and steel industry. They will twist it. Sometimes they will ask a question in this way. Cotton textile industries have been seen a shift from Mumbai to Ahmedabad and Coimbatore. Why cotton textile industries are appearing in this particular aspect? Sugar mills have seen, we have seen a drastic shift of sugar mills from North India to South India. Discuss the reasons associated with it. So, these kind of questions regarding with the location, never ever expect a direct question, because whenever you read in the book, you will have direct questions like, cotton textile industry, these are the factors. jute textile industries, these are the factors. You will have a direct question, but never ever in UPSC they are not even going to touch the direct portion of the aspect. So make sure that whenever you understand this particular location of industry, it shall be in an indirect way, no doubt at all. Okay. So here first introduction they have given, because like India does not have this much industries, but it is necessary for this. Taking the data from the current news article, India is the next largest contributor of Asia's crude oil refining capacity. After China, country is expected to contribute 15% of the Asia's crude oil refining capacity in 2023. This is the data taken in the March. According to the global data, India have 23 oil refineries. You know the list of oil refineries. If you don't know few also, that doesn't make any sense. You know about the Reliance Oil Refinery, the Jamnagar wala, HPCL, Bharat Petroleum. If you don't know the refineries and their locations also, not necessary, but overview you have to have it. Here, while India may not have many refineries as some countries, it still possesses a significant refining capacity. Despite we have only 23 refining units, their capacity is almost equal to some nations. So it doesn't mean that only if we have 23 refining units that is going to determine, but the location of oil refineries generally involves several factors. Factor number 1, strategic location. Factor number 2, economic, logistical and environmental considerations. These are the main aspects. Cotton textile industry can be established anywhere. It can be established near to the outskirts of Ashoknagar also, outskirts to any region. But for oil refinery to be established, that oil refinery releases certain gases. Again, environmental concern comes into picture, economical concern comes into picture, disaster concern comes into picture, strategical location. We can't make the oil refinery to be established in Srinagar. Yes or no? There are some locations. For this, they have given to the certain factors where oil refineries can be established. In general, if you want to invest in a refining industry, where you will check, what is the first thing which comes into your mind? If you want to establish an oil refinery, what is the first thing comes into your mind? First thing, connectivity you will check initially. पहले crude oil देखो ना भाई. हाँ, obviously check for the crude oil resources. If you are not having that along the ports, because crude oil comes from the Central Asian nations, the Middle East, West Asia, yes or no? This is the first thing which you have to check. Second one, आप जो बोले transportation network. First is crude oil resources. If you are finding it in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Assam, these are the 4 states. Next, Andhra Pradesh along the KG basin. Whenever crude oil comes into picture, 5 states have to come into your mind. First is Assam, Bongaigaon region. Rajasthan, Saraswati oil fields and Barmer district. Gujarat, Ankaleshwar oil field, Ahmedabad oil field. Maharashtra, Mumbai High, Aliabet. Do you remember Aliabet? Along the estuarine region created by the Narmada river. These 5 states followed by Andhra Pradesh, KG basin. These are the 5 states which have to come into your mind. यहाँ पे अगर नहीं है तो port. If you are not establishing inland, then port. Second, access to transportation facilities. Effective transportation is required to transport crude oil and petroleum products, right? And the transportation can be roadways, waterways or pipeline network, which is very, very important for this. And Mathura oil refinery, which was established in Uttar Pradesh, that particular Mathura oil refinery is established because it is connecting the very good transportation network. Panipat oil refinery has been established because that region has effective transportation network. One is after development of Panipat refinery, effective transportation got developed, but first instance also they had very good transportation networks. Third is market and consumption centers. ऐसा नहीं कि आप मणिपुर इम्फाल में लगा दिए है ना रिफाइनरी एंड नो वन इज बाइंग पेट्रोलियम, एंड मणिपुर में क्या हो रहा है आपको पता ही है, दे यूज पेट्रोल ओनली फॉर बर्निंग, है ना, पेट्रोल का दाम बढ़ जा रहा है वहां पे. So strategical locations, market locations. That's why if you see one of my friends who's he take care of the unit, उसको क्या बोलेंगे designation मुझे पता नहीं, but उसको सब कुछ free, yes पता है. He will go while you travel to Bongir. We have Avshapur after Gatkesar. So there you have petroleum units, clear. So ये petroleum block and वो शादनगर का petroleum block जो भी हैं, he tends to maintain and give a surveillance report. What is going to happen? उसका position याद नहीं है, but he does the same work. Why there was a necessity to establish that Bharat Petroleum near to the Hyderabad Avshapur? Because Hyderabad is a market center. Panipat. Panipat exactly is 80 kilometers from Delhi. Delhi is a market center. Chandigarh is 100 kilometers from Panipat. Kurukshetra is very closer to Panipat. Mathura and Panipat refineries fulfills the demand of the northern states which are present. Are you getting this point? In this way, market is very important. Infrastructure and utilities, just like I was speaking, like the road network and other infrastructure and government policies. This is one of the most important industry which depends upon government policies. Because see, right now, as Telangana state which is there, which has been newly formed, government is giving incentives to those industries which are willing to invest here. So this is a good government policy which will attract the investors. So in near future, ho sakta hai, many other Bharat Petroleum and other refineries also, they might come to this state because of these incentive policies. In general, government policies tend to attract these investors. So for oil refineries also it is very exclusive. And next part of the question is also discuss why refineries are moving towards market centers. Why they will move to market centers? Because right now pipeline network has been developed. There is no necessity that we have to place ourselves at crude oil. And near to the market center when we establish, the amount of their sustenance, existence near to the market is very high. For example, if iron and steel industry is established in the region where iron ore is available, once the iron ore gets exhausted, is that location very good for iron and steel industry? No. So that iron and steel industry has to move from that particular location. But if you establish the industry near to the market, market never vanishes. The raw material might exhaust, but market never vanishes. What they can do is, initially if they do some hard work of getting the raw material at very lower cost near to the up to the market. So once they establish their industries near to the market, for longer span of time, those particular markets can be sustained. Have you any time visited the Mumbai highway? Mumbai highway? No. When you go on to the Mumbai highway from Hyderabad to Mumbai, crossing Patan Cheru and Sangareddy region, entirely you will see automobile belt. Hyderabad was having nothing. But why automobile industries got established there? The reason behind it is, generally Nanded, Pune, this Maharashtra belt is known for automobile industries. But why this Patan Cheru was picked as automobile industries? They have seen the ready market as Hyderabad. So initially there was burden while they were bringing the accessory parts to Patan Cheru, and they were assembling here and they were selling the finished product here at the retail stores. But right now the units of manufacturing the spare parts itself started here. This automobile industry never would be vanishing. So that's why whenever any industry, if it is established near to the market, its lifespan would be very high. Its lifespan would only end when the market vanishes. So for market to be vanished, very least chances are there. Would Hyderabad market would be vanished? It extends. It never would be vanished. Mumbai market became saturated but never vanished. मुंबई में आप जाके देखो, many people earlier history में मैं पढ़ता था 1970s 80s में, historian ने लिखा था उसमें, economic historian, he was saying that near future no one will care Mumbai or no one will shift to Mumbai. Is it happening? Is no one shifting to Mumbai? You won't even find a flight ticket traveling to Mumbai, just if you book now. So Mumbai became saturated but never vanished. Chennai, did it vanish? It might become saturated, or it might have some additional factors which disturbed it, like tsunami has disturbed it, cyclones have disturbed it, but never vanished. Visakhapatnam, did it vanish? No. Markets never would be vanished once they established. Manchester, did it vanish? Lancashire, do you know about Lancashire in United States? Yorkshire, did it vanish? They were established during the Industrial Revolution time. Did they vanish? No. Why? Because their particular positions were very close to the markets. That's why near to the market is very, very essential. That's why most of the oil refineries, whenever you see, they are very close to the market. And those oil fields which are present in Assam, whenever you read about different oil fields in Assam, the oil fields of Assam are very far away from the consumer zones. That is the negative aspect of Assam oil fields. But Gujarat and Maharashtra oil fields are not in that way. They are very ready for the consumer. Either oil field hai, either consumer baitha. Assam mein वैसा नहीं है. They have to travel 890 kilometers to reach market. Are you getting this point? So that's why Assam, whenever oil comes into picture, what is the first state which comes into picture? Maharashtra or Gujarat. But Assam has the first oil field. The first oil field, Digboy, at Bongaigaon, 1901, first oil refinery established. But does Assam name come into picture? No. Why? Because they are located, isolated, very far away from the market area. That's why market has been chosen as the consideration of oil refineries. So whenever oil refineries come into picture, the market aspect has to come into picture. Then, got this point? Now, question number 2. Question number 2 is on iron and steel industry is the backbone of manufacturing sector. In this backdrop, give an overview of policy support provided by the government to this sector. Also suggest what more needs to be done to make it competitive to international market. See, this question is not related to geography, rather it is related to economy. है ना? Economy में industries you will be reading. In geography, industrial perspective, you will be reading on the basis of how the location has to happen or what are the advantages and disadvantages. ये geography का context है. But in this policy support has been given. This is a current based question. So if you see the iron and steel industry since the independence itself, it has given a higher note. You know how the Rourkela steel plant, Bhilai steel plant, Durgapur steel plant has been established with Russian collaboration, German collaboration, UK collaboration. You know about these collaborations, right? So with the help of them we have took. But later on 2017 we have national steel policy. This is very important. Government introduced national steel policy in 2017 with the aim of creating a global competitive and vibrant steel industry in India. So government is making and moving towards Make in India campaign along with the sustainable growth. So this particular aspect you have to know about the schemes. So here they have given few, but contemporarily current basis जो आप पढ़ेंगे न्यूज़पेपर में उससे आपको लिखना है. Make in India campaign, like sustainable growth of steel industry, the vibrant market of steel, supply steel to northeast, supply steel to east. मतलब ऐसे सारे policies हैं. What can be done that you can only understand once you know what are the problems iron and steel industry would be facing. So whenever you have read about iron and steel industry, what problems you have came across with? Lack of iron and steel industry, lack of not pig iron, coking coal, lack of technology. That's why we import coal from Australia. So technology upgradation is required, innovation is required, skill development, cost competitiveness which China will have. So ये फोन एप्पल का फोन कितने में आता है? लाख रुपए. ये कौन सा फोन है? OnePlus या? So OnePlus have almost same features like Apple. So it's China backed up phone to have a competitive market. ये cost competitiveness है. ये 30,000 में लिया था मैं. अगर यही फीचर्स मुझे आईफोन में चाहिए 80,000 लगाना पड़ेगा. So this is cost competitiveness. iPhone will look at brand, if you want to look at brand, वो ठीक है, but most of the people they look about cost competitiveness. So for Indian steel, cost competitiveness is also one problem. Trade and market access policy reforms. See, these suggestions you can give it on your own. It's not compulsion that यहाँ पे जो लिखे हैं you should write the same stuff given in the model answer. Government policies and what government can do. For example, like as they are constructing the Sagarmala and Bharatmala projects, connect these Sagarmala projects with the iron and steel industry units, or connect these iron and steel industries, make one particular circuit of locating the raw materials required for iron and steel industries and the iron and steel industries wherever they are located, make one circuit, and once they travel in that particular circuit, they get every access to the iron and steel which is produced in India. So how they are making a circuit for everything. For example, in Kerala, we have a circuit tourism. Yes or no? So once you come, you can visit all the Kerala through the initial process. In this way, the circuitness of iron and steel can be done. So in that way, you can suggest some particular measures which are necessary for this. So ये 5 दिए हैं जो what you can do, what reforms you will suggest. This you can also choose accordingly to your own. It's not like you write only the thing which has been given in model answer. Model answer is giving you what to write. It is not giving what you should write the same. ये same लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. Okay. Most interesting question. Question number 3. India has surpassed Brazil to become both the world's largest producer and consumer of sugar. है ना? So Brazil actually is leading producer of coffee and sugarcane, but India has surpassed it. But उसका actual values बाहर नहीं आया. But India में क्या होता है? Maximum is consumed on by own. जैगरी बनाएंगे, शुगर बनाएंगे, चाय पिएंगे, चाय में 2-3 चम्मच चीनी. So Indians will consume maximum sugar in comparatively. इधर sugar cane juice पिएंगे, नहीं तो उससे जैगरी बनाएंगे, नहीं तो शुगर बनाएंगे, ब्राउन शुगर बनाएंगे, वाइट शुगर बनाएंगे, नहीं तो वो मोलासिस को लेके बियर विस्की बनाएंगे, कुछ भी बनाएंगे. मतलब we will utilize that at a maximum rate. However, there seems no ending to some of the issues faced by sugar industry. So what are the issues which you will observe? See here, he is not asking the location of industry. Whenever you read about the location of industry, first basic location you have to remember. Second, exclusive location for that industry. Third, what that particular industry is facing the problem. Jute industry in India faces the problem, faces certain problems. Cotton textile industry faces certain problems. Woolen textile industries faces certain problems. Silk textile industries faces certain problems. For example, woolen textile industry, what does the problem which is faced by woolen textile industry? One is, there is no necessity for woolen products in India throughout the year. There is no domestic market. Okay, let's export woolen products. They are very inferior quality of wool products. अगर ये जाके एक्सपोर्टिंग करके आप वर्ल्ड मार्केट में बेचने लगेंगे, नो वन टेंड्स टू बाई. कंपटीशन बहुत है. ऑस्ट्रेलियन वुलन इंडस्ट्री के सामने आप तो घिर जाएंगे पूरे, है ना. आपको भेजना होगा इजिप्ट सीरिया वीरिया में जाके भेजना होगा, है ना. सो इन सच वे एवरी इंडस्ट्री विल हैव सम प्रॉब्लम्स. इन दैट वे sugar industry which is there, it also has some problems attached with it. First one, fair remunerative prices और जो prices है sugar industry मतलब और like sugar good जो है sugar cane जो है, this doesn't have much support from the government because this particular product which is there, it is one of the favorite crops for the farmers because इसका returns बहुत है. Point number 2, this particular crop has that much risk also because once the harvest is done, within 48 hours it has to be taken to the industry, otherwise it is out. So in that regard, government doesn't take risk for the sugar cane. So no, lack of government support is one reason. Lack of profitable mills is one, and state government imposes restriction on movement of products like molasses. It has to take some, pay some tax, and it faces some restrictions. And we have no government intervention in growth of sugarcane. So, sugar industry, despite India has huge growth of this sugarcane, but sugar industry faces bit amount of problem attached with it. Are you getting this? So, every industry will have some problem. Today you go and list out the problems of different industries like cotton industry, every industry will have. Iron and steel industry, lack of coking coal, lack of technology, lack of innovation, lack of support from the government. Cotton textile industry, lack of long staple cotton. Jute, only growing in certain regions of India, not sufficient. Most of the jute growing areas went to Bangladesh. In this way, every industry has some problems, you make a list of them. Okay. So, this is question number 3 and day number 3, and the rest we have 3 more days of discussion. Discussion between the climatology and some other related aspects. This we shall finish in the next session. We have finished with 3 days, 9 questions, and the rest 9 questions we will discuss tomorrow. Okay. So, by tomorrow we can finish. Actually, this session was a daily session. तो मैंने बोला daily लगाने से अच्छा long sessions can comparatively give more productivity. That's why I have opted for 2 longer sessions to discuss these questions. Okay. So, the rest we shall discuss in the next session. Thank you.